Now, I want to talk about another subject, which is probably most people don't realize how much a dentist can, should, and does help with it, and that is sleep apnea. It's where people basically stop breathing at night, and by doing so wake up and don't get oxygen to their brain and all that stuff. And apparently a dentist can help with it. And what is becoming new is that we hear news now that there is more people having car accidents because of sleep apnea than of drunk driving. In New Jersey, just a few months ago, a guy wrapped a bus around a bowl and killed some people, I think. And they suspect, not sure, but they suspect sleep apnea. It has this effect of, in the afternoon, you just almost pass out at some point and or become very sluggish and all that stuff. Tell us about what sleep apnea is all about and why a dentist can help out here, because that sounds like a far-fetched thing.
Sure, Helmut. And you're right. What happens at night if you stop, breathing even for seconds at a time, those are what the apnea is there's no breath. You're not getting the oxygen, which all of your cells need, so you're not getting as much. So you wake up and maybe you're more tired, irritable, and you're more prone to fall asleep any time of day, especially the afternoon when you've been up for a few hours. Then now you haven't had a good rest, so you fall asleep. If you find yourself, nodding off when you're stopped at a stoplight, or if you just sit down after lunch and you start to, doze off, chances are high that you might have some sleep apnea in episodes where you're going without oxygen, basically almost dying for seconds at night when you don't have that oxygen. Now, how does a dentist help with that? Well, what happens is a lot of that is caused because of airway obstruction, which is in your mouth or in your nose. The dentist can help with the mouth, and a lot of that is the tongue. The tongue just drops back into the throat and closes it off. So what you want to do is, if that does happen to you, you want to, sleep on your side or do whatever. But for the dentist, what we can do is make an appliance that fits in your mouth, and it keeps your jaw open and maybe a little bit forward so that the airway is bigger and you don't have the apnea episodes. Now, I definitely recommend you do a sleep study, and they'll do that. They'll, evaluate, hook you up to electrodes or whatever, and measure how many episodes you have, how much oxygen you're losing, and all of that good stuff. Now, if you have an appliance made at the dentist, you can do half of the study with the appliance and without, and you can see how effective it is. But even if you don't do the study, at least getting that appliance in, you'll get some airway help, and you won't be as prone. But I definitely recommend you get the study if you suspect any issues, if you're tired and in the mornings or all day and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I mean, while I understand that getting a study is on an overall a good thing, but if you are tired and exhausted, the chances are high. Now, I heard, you tell me whether there's some truth to it, that almost all people, not all, but almost all people who snore have some type of sleep apnea. So if you snore, which if you have a spouse, one way or the other way, you probably know, because it's not comfy to get kicked at night, so you know that you're snoring. And so you know you snore, you feel sluggish in the afternoon, even sometimes to the point of like overtakingly like, oh gee, did I just, pass out here for a second? You might not literally need a study anymore. You just go and say, well, first of all, I want to relieve my wife of needing to hear me snoring, or my husband. So that, because it handles that to a very high degree, also this appliance. Am I right there?
Right. And that's how you can tell if the appliance is a little effective. If you are snoring and with the appliance in you don't, you know it's effective. And the appliances we use are adjustable. So if we are finding that it's not working quite as well as we want, we can do some adjustments to it and see if that helps. But snoring is one of the signs or symptoms, so to speak, of the sleep apnea, but not always.
Right. But so if a person just snores, it's probably a good a good humanitarian thing to stop snoring if you sleep with somebody else. Otherwise, who cares? Right. But and at the same time, it might help you. Now, for sleep apnea, apparently the gold standard really is what's called a CPAP machine, which is basically a compressor pressuring air into your mouth. It's a big mask. Tell us about that one, on how to fix it this way, and what are some of the, I think the big disadvantage is that most people can't sleep with it because it's so uncomfortable.
That is a problem. If you sleep with it, it works very well because it's giving you the oxygen that you need, and it actually is forced in. It just doesn't sit there. It actually puts a little pressure to allow the oxygen to force its way in, either through your nose or your mouth or both. But unfortunately, it's a mask that fits on your face, and so some people cannot get comfortable with them. Now, sometimes they have different masks or different types of faces of how they put them on, and so they're getting better with giving you more options. But even if you have one of those machines, wearing an appliance that keeps your airway open from the dentist will also increase the effectiveness of it because you have a better airway.
And it by itself works. It's probably a little bit like one time, wasn't too long time ago, a few years ago anyway, I asked some sports coach teacher, I somehow met him at some social thing, and I told him, asking a very smart question here, and says, what is the best exercise you can do? And I expected something like swimming, and we're after all educated, we know all that stuff. And this guy really put me down to cut me down to 2 feet. He looked at me and says, Helmut, the best exercise you can do will be the one you actually will be doing. And that made so much sense. Like, yeah, okay, you got that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you don't wear the CPAP machine because it's so inconvenient, even though it may be a little bit better than the dental appliance, if then you wear the dental appliance all the time, then you're light years ahead, I suppose.
Right. If the CPAP machine works great, but you don't wear it, it's not going to work for you at all. Whereas if you can get the airway open a little bit, at least you're going to get some improvement. Especially if you're kind of a little bit of a traveling guy, then maybe carrying a CPAP machine around is definitely more hassle than a little mouth guard kind of, right? Right, the little appliance, it's like a retainer, so you have a little case that you can take with you traveling very easily so that you can have that with you wherever you go.
Yeah, and is it that when you have sleep apnea, and whether you wear a CPAP machine or you wear an appliance, it's a little bit like with reading glasses. You wear them, you see. You don't wear them, you don't see. So if you don't wear the CPAP machine or the appliance for 1 or 2 or 3 nights because you're out there doing business or vacation or whatever it is, during that time you will wake up during the night, you will have get no oxygen to your brain, and you will be next day subject to have all the symptoms of not having slept well. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. There's no cumulative effect. Like if you wore it for months and months and months and then you skipped a night, well, those months and months don't help you for that night. Each night is independent, and you go through those apnea episodes. If you have those, you stop breathing, your cells don't get the oxygen they need, and they need it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not like with vitamin where, yes, you can stop there for, a couple of weeks at a time sometimes because you have an accumulative strong body there. Exercise. You can exercise, not exercise, then for a while you're not necessarily getting a lot weaker because of it, as long as you don't overdo it with the stopping. But here, no, it's, you do it, you're fine. You don't do it, you have the problem.
That's right.
Okay. Wow. So now you even help us sleep, and by helping us sleep, you help us becoming more alert, better thinking, less grouchy, and all that stuff. So you make us looking better with teeth in it, not just in smile, but also in caved-in feeling. You make us not having headaches by doing DMJ problems and a line missing teeth. Anything you guys don't do?
We do quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems to be that whoever created our body and whatever we believe in there, that how it got created, but this part up here, there seems to be nothing unimportant in it. I mean, we have the brain, we have the eye, we have the nose, the ear, and so what makes us thinking that the teeth are any less of importance than those other things. They really seem to be affecting the whole body.
Yeah, I agree. They're there for a reason. We want to keep them there as long as we want to stay alive.
All right. Dr. Auerbach, very interesting speaking to you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.